You ever catch yourself thinking, but he wasn't always like this? You remember the early days when everything felt almost perfect. And now, just coldness, silence, and confusion. Here's a truth that stings. Do you know what addicts and people stuck in toxic relationships have in common? Their brains react the exact same way. One is addicted to a substance, the other to a person. Toxic is a word we throw around a lot, but in psychology, it has a precise meaning. As Shahida Arabi writes in her book, Toxic People, a toxic person isn't always the one who screams, insults, or hits. Sometimes it's the one who goes quiet. And that silence, it's punishment. They cut off communication without warning. They disappear just to make you question yourself. What did I do wrong? They tease, but the jokes always have a sting. They say, you're too sensitive, after cutting you with sarcasm. They control who you see, what you wear, what you say. You live your life under a microscope, constantly judged, corrected, diminished. You start doubting your own reality. That's not being too sensitive. That's manipulation. But if it's so clear, why do we stay? Why do strong, kind, intelligent people keep returning to those who hurt them? The answer isn't weakness. It's neuroscience. When someone loves you one minute and rejects you the next, your brain releases dopamine and adrenaline, the same chemicals that drive addiction. That roller coaster of pain and relief, your brain mistakes it for love. It's not love, it's a chemical hit. And when oxytocin, the bonding hormone, joins the mix, you form an emotional addiction. Love, fear, and adrenaline get tangled together. So when you finally leave, you don't just miss the person, you miss the rush. You crave the chaos that felt like connection. And here's where psychology comes in. A trauma bond is born when you once had to earn love by pleasing, fixing, or enduring. Your nervous system learned to be loved, you must tolerate pain. So when someone hurts you, apologizes, and then hurts you again, it feels familiar. It feels like home. You're not just in love, you're replaying an old story, hoping this time it ends differently. But trauma doesn't heal through repetition. It heals through awareness. Here's the painful twist. You can adapt to trauma. Your brain learns to survive in pain and starts calling it normal. Your body lives in constant alert, waiting for the next storm. And when everything finally goes quiet, that piece feels wrong. You start missing the drama because calm feels foreign. That's not love. That's trauma familiarity, a nervous system addicted to chaos. So how do you know if you're in a toxic relationship? Not by the explosions, but by the patterns. Toxicity rarely walks in wearing a warning sign. It shows up as charm, attention, and promises. Until one day, you realize you've disappeared. If any of this sounds familiar, pay attention. You feel guilty for setting boundaries. You're told you're overreacting. You leave conversations anxious and drained. They punish you with silence. They twist your words. They apologize, but nothing ever changes. That's not love trying to work things out. That's control, disguised as care. So how do you start healing? First, name it. You're not just too emotional. You're responding to emotional abuse. Second, stop trying to make sense of their behavior. You don't need to understand why they do it. You only need to understand that it hurts. And third, get support. Therapy, friends, community. Healing doesn't happen in isolation. You deserve spaces where you don't have to explain your pain to be believed. You don't run out of toxic relationships. You walk out,
Slowly, consciously, one boundary at a time. Because self-love isn't a switch, it's a process. If being with someone makes you feel smaller, it's not love, it's a signal. A signal that it's time to choose yourself. Share this video with someone who still believes pain means love. And tell me, what was your first step in choosing you?